I suffer for my art. Now it's your turn.
Father's Day was this last weekend. Did you get to celebrate with your grown crotch goblins? Did they call you, or did you spend time?
Yeah, they all checked in, but they're all far scattered around the globe. And they all checked in and said, Happy Father's Day. And I went, which one are you?
So let's see. You have one in France, one in
one in
Miami,
France,
and one
yeah.
in England.
Yeah. No, I have Ines in France. James is in Miami. Max is in LA.
Oh, Max is in LA.
Yeah, he was only there for like 6 months. He's got his English passport sorted out, ready for the Armageddon US style, and then he can just go and live over there if he ever needs to. The best advice I ever gave him.
Debbie has her still has her UK citizenship, and that's she's always saying, we can always go there if we want to. I don't know.
I don't know if it's much. I mean, it's no better than anywhere else really these days. It's like an overcrowded, out-of-date cargo vessel that's like going around in a big Brexit circle. Just completely, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know what's going on anywhere. I don't know what's going on.
And she's also from way up north, near Manchester, and it's
the Red Wall.
Been there many times, and I think on the several trips that I've been there, I think I saw the sun once. And I don't think I could do it, man. I think I get less sunshine than Cleveland. And no disrespect to Cleveland, it's my hometown, but weeks on end of gloom. I don't know.
They have this thing called climate change, and that's actually a positive for parts of England. They're growing wine again, like the Romans used to. It used to actually be warm there, apparently. Not in the time I lived there, but it may become again.
It's been unreasonable here in Las Vegas. I'm based in Las Vegas. Sai is based in Santa Cruz, and it's like 110 today. It's a dry heat, but you can't really function. In fact, I turned my AC off in the room here so that it wouldn't bleed into the microphones, and it's starting to become a greenhouse in here already.
Wow,
how's it in Santa Cruz?
It's good too. It's good. It gets warm in the day, and then you need a hoodie at night or something because it gets a little fresh from the ocean, just the way I like it. So you could sleep with windows open, no AC. It gets hot here for 1 or 2 days in like September, October. A couple of sweaty nights. I bought an AC unit that I put in my studio in the other room. If I've turned it on 3 times since I've had it, that's too much. I like a moist heat myself. As a singer,
I'll take the dry heat, man. I sweat. The humidity makes me sweat like I don't know what, like a junkie.
It's probably things that need to come out of your body, Doug.
Well, there's lots of things I'm sure that need to come out of my body, but that's, not a conversation for this right now. When I was in LA, we lived we lived all over, but when we lived in the West Hollywood area, it was much nicer over there, much cooler, similar kind of climate to what you're talking about than when we were in the Valley, when we bought our house in Burbank. I mean, it could get super hot there. And but I guess it's been, the heat wave is everywhere right now.
Yeah, it is. It's a little weird. Everyone's trying to, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, projections and Armageddon headlines and everything. But so far, so good in the part of the world I'm in by the ocean. So I'm going to live in this little bubble. And then I go down to Cabo when I need a bit of that moist heat. It's good for the throat. Right now, I've got a little something going on. When I go down there, the moisture gets me singing and talking in a much more smooth way. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, have you watched that Netflix thing, the documentary Dancing with the Devil? Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't.
It's interesting. It's the story of these young dancers who kind of get pulled into this religious community slash management company, and they're encouraged to, avoid their families. It's almost cultish in a way. There's the guy, his name's Robert Shin. He's the founding pastor of this church, and he also owns this management company. And he found these really successful YouTube dancers, these kids that were posting these videos, getting millions and millions of hits, and generating really good money from that. And he recruits them into this management company, which is also a church.
Not a good mix.
Well, and it's almost, of course, the documentary is very one-sided, but these young kids, these talented kids, they do go and they end up giving, a management commission. These are kids that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars from these videos, right?
Right.
And dancers. And he takes a commission on on their earnings. Then they give 30 to 40% of their income to the church.
Jesus.
And then he owns houses where he boards them, several to a house, and they pay him rent. And,
Jesus.
a big essential part of this story was the estrangement, of those people from their families, and their families feel like this is a cult. And, I've gotten to know lots of young dancers here when I was working as a technical director for some shows on the Strip. And they're artists, just like you are, just like I am, very serious about what they do. What do you think would make these kids susceptible of this kind of manipulation, where they would give away, essentially 70 to 80% of their income in management fees, church fees, and rent to this Robert Chin, who by all accounts is just a false prophet?
I mean, what's his hook line? How does he get them to sort of see his light?
He's a man of God.
Oh.
And he must have a good line of bullshit. In the documentary, a good number of them, these dancers, finally kind of wake up to it and they split. But then there are some that are extremely loyal and stay. And I wonder, what is it about some artists that they're susceptible to this? Is it they're searching for something? Is it something lacking in themselves? I mean, what's your take?
I don't know. It's probably a combination of self-loathing and pure desire to get somewhere, and not thinking that you're capable on your own of doing anything without somebody reaching out. And if you've grown up in a world where God gets the main line in your head, and you think everything is done by a predestiny, and this guy comes in and starts preaching at you and promising stuff to you. I mean, everybody wants salvation, but it starts with understanding your own consciousness first. And I think probably these kids just don't even understand where this guy's evil is. They just see the instant movement. Oh, he's telling me what I want to hear. And they fall into the trap. It's like, bees like honey. And worker bees especially make honey. So this guy knows how to really, I mean, I don't know him, but I've seen other, it's a bit like Scientology in a way. Why do people need that? Why do they need that in their lives to feel that they can move forward? Some very big stars have used Scientology quite powerfully to advance their careers. I'm not taking it away from them, but it's something that I've always had a slight mistrust of.
Right. And it begs the question, what makes creative people drawn into this thing? Like there was, the Scientology thing was a really good point, and I was going to bring that up, although I was kind of afraid to say it because our channel will probably be immediately shut down by Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
But There was the central story in this Netflix thing is these two sisters that had started doing these dance videos together on TikTok, and they had gained millions of viewers, and they were really successful. And they got sucked into this church, and the one sister was like, no, and ran the other way. And the other sister is still involved. And the family relationship's very strained. So these are kids that had a level of success already. So the typical, cigar chomping record executive saying he's going to make you a star, that wasn't part of this equation. You know what I mean? These kids already had some success. So they were clearly looking for something besides just that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the psyche of a dancer. I know that you got to think that your careers are going to be short-lived, so you've got to get to the top quickly. You got to like be known to be in the biggest video. You got to get out there and stand out. Maybe there's an element of showbiz mom been pushing you for a while, and all of a sudden you've argued with
Well,
her,
I can tell
and
you there's all that.
so you don't want the
Yeah,
connection anymore.
there's all that. Just in my experience dealing with a number of dancers here, there's all the things you just mentioned, and a lot of them start to realize, there is a short-lived career there, and so many of the older dancers. And when I say older, I'm talking about like late 20s to mid 30s, which you don't think of as older at all.
Right.
They all start to look for something else to transition into and other opportunities. And a lot of them have done so very successfully.
Yeah, I mean, look at soccer players, sports.
Oh, right.
Or sports personalities. They make a ton of money early in their career, and if it's managed right, they kind of have a fund to finance their other progressions in their careers. But a lot of them fall by the wayside too, because all the human habits inhabit us all. And so, I don't know, as an artist, you're so desperate for attention. I mean, when I was a kid, I wasn't sure whether I was any good, wasn't sure, and then you start to get some feedback, and then you build things on them. Being in a band, you have more of a support group already with you. You're going through the same emotional upheavals, but we're together. And I was the baby in the band, so I was able to have these big brothers who would like, "Hey, don't lose your head here. Just stay calm. Give us another one of those. That could be better." So I felt nurtured, and I didn't quite lose my shit as much as some people have. But then again, the world's changed quite a bit. It's really toxic out there. People think, the cult of personality, people would do anything to get their names out there. And it's like, why?
Well, I mean, social media's made that. I mean, it's really revealed that in a huge way.
Yeah.
And, I think in the case of some of the footballers and people like that, so much success and money so early, maybe that's a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, TikTok to me used to be the sound of the clock on the kitchen wall ticking. And then now it's like maybe the sound of a bomb just about to go off.
Yeah.
And I think it depends on what masks you want to wear. We all wear masks.
Lovely.
You put them on and you go out there and you fight for your piece of the pie. But then when you learn to bake your own cake, it's a different way of living.
Yeah, I just, as I watched that documentary, it just was like, why is it? And you brought up Scientology and actors and musicians. There's some famous musicians in Scientology too, the late Chick Corea and many actors and stuff. And again, really successful people. And I believe that you're probably right. You kind of touched on some of them get involved because maybe they see it as a path to success. But again, that's another one of those things where they take a huge chunk of your income, and then you're just in this. They push you away from your families if they're not involved, and it just seems to me creative people are drawn to these things, these false prophets, if you will.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not an expert on Scientology and I can't sort of knock it down for everyone, but the elusive, exclusive club that it tries to draw you into that almost it won't take criticism. It doesn't sort of plug back in. And okay, since man has been roaming around on the planet, we all have these beliefs that we all have these multi beliefs of how we've come to be on the planet and forces that come. And, I think Scientology is based on sort of an alien higher power. People like that out there are going to come back. And if that's what you want to believe, fine. But the grouping and the way they don't really want to compete and they just take young people that are very vulnerable and lock them in the elusive, exclusive club. That's what I don't like. I mean,
Mm,
I could go into any church as a kid, or I could walk into a temple as long as I take my shoes off and I can wander around and feel the mysticism on my own without having to sort of be suddenly sold a book or a pamphlet. Oh, you've walked into my church. You've got to
mm.
sign up. They're all the time out there with their pamphlets and trying to hook you in, and they knock on your door, a bit like the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're another bunch of grabbers.
Well, yeah, and you know what they all have in common? All of these things have in common that they push you and persuade you to distance yourself from your friends and family that are not a part of this thing. And
Right.
that's what makes it cult like for me. There was when I was in Cleveland, I'm not gonna name, there was a very popular band and there was a singer. These guys had just done their first record. They were poised to do really well. And the singer was one of those people that was always had the latest self-help book. He always had the latest diet, the latest thing. He was clearly searching for something. And a group of Christians or whatever, that's what they said they were, but they brought him into their fellowship and slowly but surely estranged him from not only his band but his entire family, everything he had worked for. So again, it was like drawn in and then forced to cut off anyone else from your life. and
Yeah,
and
it's weird.
that is what all of these things to me have in common, and make them so frightening.
Well, they mine the doubt. We all have doubts, and I suppose that's their hook in. Do you have doubts about this? It's that self-loathing sandcastle again that we all. What is your identity? Your identity is who you feel you are, and it's more driven now by how other people see you. And in between the two is a whole gap. It's like a marketplace for like, hey, try this identity, try that identity. If you're feeling this, you're not that. If you're not that, you should be feeling this. And you know, trap.
Yeah, I found it fascinating. You should check it out. It
Yeah,
was
man.
on, I think that particular documentary was on a while ago. I also watched the Scientology one. Again, I don't know anything about Scientology either. I just, I get sucked into these kind of documentaries, and they all have something in common. Right now, the Jonestown uh,
Yeah.
thing is on Netflix too.
I've like kind of like fallen off the planet, to be honest. I was aware of I don't watch documentaries as much as I used to. And I think I've got to that point where I felt my cup was so full that it was overflowing. And so I needed to empty out. I'm in a process of unlearning because I'm so underwhelmed by human endeavor and human nature. When I see what's going on in all the need and the way we've politicized every kind of empathic path has to have a divisive reason, I've kind of like fallen off the map. And
Maybe we should start a cult.
Yeah,
I mean, why not us?
yeah, there you go. Well, I like yogurt,
You
and
know,
I like the way some bacterias grow, and I'm pretty fascinated by yeast.
by what?
Yeast, that's a you culture yeast, and that can foment some ideas that are actually quite useful. Beer has been a wonderful invention that fermented, and wine. Of course, I don't drink anymore because I have had too much, and now I'm completely teetotal, and I can
Yeah,
count to 10 again.
I used to like beer. I've quit for many years at a time. One time for 6 years, several, and I don't drink a lot. I can't drink beer anymore at all because apparently uh, I've developed an allergy to what is it, gluten.
Gluten, oh yeah.
I used to laugh when people said that. It's real. Trust me. If you
Yeah,
get to a certain age, these things
yeah.
happen.
I know, man. I've just discovered Guinness Zero, which has saved my life. Beautiful
So
drink,
that's got no alcohol?
no alcohol, point 0.5. It's a fantastic drink because it restores that Irish nature that I have at the back. 40% Irish, needs 40% Guinness in the day, which I've realized shouldn't have alcohol in.
Hmm.
When I lived in New York, I was imbibing a little too much that I ended up having to handcuff myself to the radiator.
I remember. Well, you were good buddies with a guy that owned what, three British pubs?
Three
Or
Irish
three,
bars.
were they
Yeah.
British pubs or Irish? It was like,
Irish pubs.
yeah, they were good
Yeah.
fun, those places.
Really great. We'll talk to him about, he really knows how to build a place where people hang and want to keep hanging.
Well, I know that I think it was Puck Fair.
Yeah.
It was right around the corner from the studio where you and I did your Returning Sun record. David
Yeah.
Bowie used to eat lunch there all the time.
Yeah. I never wanted to meet him because I was so like, I didn't want to meet my idol. I
Right.
wanted one star to stay in the sky.
It can
And he
go.
was
It can
that
go
one.
terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you? God, I don't know if I should even talk about this, but I was a huge Daryl Hall fan, Hall and
Oh, yeah.
Oates, and I got a call. It would have been shortly after you and I had worked together to go work on their "Do It for Love" record. To do some programming. They were trying to get a more modern sound, and of course, I was, the remix guy. And talk about meeting your idols and being like and it ruining it. And I'm not referring to John.
Oh,
It was a sobering experience, and really, it changed the way I looked at him forever. So you're right. You don't necessarily always want to meet your idols.
yeah. No way. I'll tell you one good thing about Puck Fair is that it won the battle of vinyl over digital for me. There was this DJ who came in who was going to be hired as a DJ, said, I only play vinyl because the audience will stay. People stay longer in the bar when it's vinyl. And he did the experiment where he got Danny, the bar owner, to look up from the pulpit of where he was DJing for a whole evening. And he was playing digital songs off his, whatever it was, iPod at the time. And that, and there's a nature to the sound that's like a bit, and people were restless. After 45 minutes, you were like, it's the sound of that annoying person's voice across the room. Well, that's what the music was subliminally putting out there. So people would leave. And then the next night, the guy said, now I'm going to play vinyl only. And people were staying and more people were coming in. No one was leaving. And then more people were coming in and the bar was packed. And the bar take was massive compared to the night before. And we're not talking about weekend to weekday. This was like a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
I DJ'd there several times.
Oh,
They
that's
had a
right.
great DJ rig upstairs.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough vinyl to do a whole night of vinyl. So I would do a mix of, back in those days, it was a mix of vinyl and CDs is what we were using. And, I never thought about that, what you just said. And that's an interesting
Yeah.
observation. Would
You
you
know
remember
what
the guy's name?
No. It was an Irish guy.
I wonder if it was the same guy that DJ'd at the place below my apartment. Remember that place? It's
Could
called
be.
Dublin 6 now.
Yeah, yeah. He was a funny guy, right?
Yeah, the DJ, and that
Yeah.
DJ played only vinyl.
Yeah, it was him. I think
Probably
it
the
was
same guy.
Papillon he played at too, right?
Yeah, though now it's called Dublin Six. It was Papillon, the French Patty.
Yeah.
But that was a great place for me because I lived in an apartment 2 floors up. And when you live above a bar in New York City, the bar owners go out of their way to welcome you and accommodate you because you can cause so much trouble for them with noise complaints and things like that. So I
Yeah.
became very, very close to the bar owner, Jason, and I would DJ there too. And that's where I met my wife, Deb. She had
Yeah.
been taking a break from a job in Jersey and bartending there. And
Very
that was a
accommodating.
fun time. And Puck Fair was great. And what was the other place?
Swift
Swift.
on
I
4th
DJ'd
and
there. And then
Lafayette.
the new one downtown.
Ulysses.
What was it?
Ulysses.
That was it.
Yeah, really good. I'll tell you what though, the good DJs that I see around here locally, sometimes I'll go to these sort of hippie farmers markets and local homebrew events, and they'll always have a little DJ who's spinning on his rig playing vinyl. And as you say, trying to get all the top hits. They don't play the top 40 hits. They play what they like and what they've amassed in their collection of vinyl. So this one guy has got an amazing blues collection, and he's worked out what could get people moving within his collection. So they carve out a set out of something you wouldn't normally think a DJ would be playing. They're not playing chasing the latest. They're in, and I've been really digging on this young guy. I met him. He's like 25, 26, and he's discovering it for the first time. And I'm borrowing his enthusiasm for it. And he's also teaching me what I missed. So it's really been a very interesting little journey into that through the
That's
vinyl
really
thing.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw, I don't know if you saw in the news the disastrous Coachella DJ set Elon Musk's ex-wife, what's her name?
Grimes,
yeah, just, using computers, and the BPMs were off. I think it was a sample rate issue or something. I don't know what it was. But that's not a DJ, and
no.
Paris Hilton DJing. Come on.
No,
I mean,
you got to have you got to have the thing. And these people just think they're the thing, but they miss it by a mile. Nothing more annoying than half a BPM off after about 30 seconds into the mix. Oh, God, what were they thinking? That's what you get for sleeping with Elon Musk.
I think she had kids with him, too.
Oh.
But it was a big disaster, man. Like a huge crowd and really embarrassing. And she's apologizing for it. And I mean, I can't imagine a bigger nightmare,
Oh, having to apologize too.
I guess she wasn't very good at math because it was just the BPMs were cut in half, or either they were doubled or they were cut in half.
Oops.
So no one in her crew nor her could do the math to correct it in real time, which that's a conversation for another day.
Oh man. I mean, we all discover that from the old days of like having to calculate. I remember back in the studio, we'd be like, get the old math triplets out and what the delay should be.
Yep.
And the tape length to get it to come round and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we all learned the hard way of that. You couldn't
used
just
to have to
punch
sit
a number
and calculate delay times,
Yeah. Well,
now they just sync automatically.
Now you just calculate delay for your flight time. Aren't we grumpy old men yet? Or I tell you what, I'm
trying really hard not to be.
I've got a very small bladder, and I'm just going to have to leave you for a minute and go for a leak.
That's definitely. I'm leaving that in. By the way, better.
Okay, I'm back.
Woo. Remember, if you shake it more than twice, you're just playing with it.
Yeah. Shake it. What's that?
All right. Well, so this is episode 2 of us talking shit, or it's episode 1 if you want to call the first one the pilot.
Yeah. When do we start talking shit about other people?
Well, I mean, I did a little bit about Daryl Hall. I didn't mention his name, but I just did.
Yeah. There you go.
Terribly.
Well, I met the other one, John Oates.
He's lovely.
I did a songwriters festival in the round in Aspen
Yeah,
with
that's where he lives. Or he's
Glenn
got a place there.
Tilbrook. Yeah, Glenn Tilbrook stuff. And we all turned up and played our 20-minute sets in front of a very laid back audience, I must say. But he was so charming.
Oh, he's a lovely guy and
Yeah.
very easygoing. And the other guy is the kind of guy that walks into the room and changes the temperature.
Yep.
And all the air. Now, to be fair, this is 25 years ago or something. You know, maybe it was a bad week. I was there for 2 weeks, I think, but I don't know. I have a feeling that that's just the way it is. The very weeks that I was working with them, they aired their Behind the Music.
Oh yeah.
And he wasn't too happy with the edit because it focused like a lot on his failed relationship and things like that. And so I remember, so that could have been part of the, that could have been part of the issue.
Yeah, well, mine would, if I had a documentary on my failed relationships, it'd be a
maybe we'll
mini-series.
do that one day. I mean, I can get at least a good portion of it. I was around for,
a couple of them.
the mid 2000s on.
Well, earlier than that. 97.
Oh no! I meant mid 90s. Sorry, that was
mid 90s.
Right. I can remember the phone calls.
You know what? When you kind of go, what's that smell? And you kind of realize you've been treading it around on the bottom of your shoe.
Is that what you got going on?
Well, that's what I kind of realized from one relationship to another. I'd be like, what the hell's going on? Okay, it was me. My quest for redemption and my absolute, I don't know what kind of behavior it was about, but it was part of the handcuffing myself to the radiator story, which is for another time. And I think one of the things I want to do in this series is I've found this really interesting door. It's like a wicker door that is like a confessional. Like when you go to the priest and he's hidden behind this like that. And I'm going to open it up and it's going to be time for a confession. And I'm going to try and sort of reveal some of my vulnerabilities to you because you know me so well. And I have revealed a few vulnerabilities in front of you.
Yeah. I probably know some that you don't think I do.
Maybe, yeah. Well,
we'll set up the confessional like a reality show, where they go into the booth and they do that. We can do that.
So
in fact, you actually looks like you're kind of in a confessional right now.
Yeah. Well, this is going to have even more of a screen. They've got the mask. I'm going to build this thing. I'm building it as we speak, and I shall unveil it next time we
Lovely.
talk. And I think it's going to be fun because
I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
I'm going to give you the keys to unlock my dark past. And we can always edit it out.
I just hope I'm not found guilty by association.
Well, you are the association that I joined.
All right. Well, this has been good.
You got to go take a nap now?
Well, it's 3:00, which has been my nap time for about the last 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. I should know better than to call you at 3:00.
No, we got to do what we got to do when it works,
Yeah. There's a little bird I've been seeing on a tree outside the house every morning when I walk the dog. And I had a really great little lyric come to me this morning. So it's got me revved up.
Good.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited about what we're doing. Next thing you'll be joining a fucking dance cult.
Yeah.
Okay, in the bin, this one.
All right. Well, I'll catch up with you a little bit later on.
Sleep well, darling.
Love you, Cy.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.